Hello, winners, and welcome to Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Will. We have a jam-packed episode, all NFL, all episode. We're going to start with recapping quickly around the AFC and NFC Championship games, and then we have a little different segment that we're going to look ahead and grade, make some grades. We're gonna put on professor caps and start grading and see who passed, failed on certain things. Stay tuned to learn more. But want to give a shout out to Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations for sponsoring today's episode. Thank you, Nick Menard.
You're very welcome. Hello, winners.
Hello. And please make sure to subscribe, share, and follow Two for the Win on your favorite platform. And if you're already doing that, thank you. Spread the word. Let more people know. We want to hear from all of you. So anyway, let's jump into it. NFC Championship Game. Let's start there. What a game. Your thoughts. Break it down.
You mean the Washington? I didn't
Yeah,
hear. Yeah.
NFC.
So, my take is that, Philadelphia are dominant in the O-line. That's probably one of the best O-line I ever saw in my life. Barkley is phenomenal, but I think you can put the neighbor from your neighborhood behind this line and they will still have 100 yards a carry. You saw at the end when he didn't play at the end and then
Rookie.
No one just come in, bam, 60-yard run and then untouched. So yeah, but it doesn't mean that it's not, great from Saquon. I really like Saquon Barkley, and it's rare that I like Eagles. But how can you not like him? He's just amazing. So so the O-line, Saquon Barkley, the difference maker.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Washington, the big surprise that I had is really the fact that Jaden Daniels was probably the best player in Washington. He was poised. He was running for his life, but he was poised. He didn't make mistakes. The pick at the end doesn't count. They need to come back from 30 down, so he will throw the ball away. But the fact that everybody else in Washington just lost their track, they completely lost their composure. It looks like they were not prepared, which is weird because I know Quinn is really a good coach for preparation. They were all over the place, and then they lost, very big pieces in different areas the first two quarters. So it was everything against them. But I was expecting a lot better from Washington, and unfortunately, that didn't happen.
Yeah, if anything, after that championship game, I'm even more on the Jaden Daniels hype train. You're right. He had composure. He did not have time to throw. He was running for his life. I think, it was funny because Dan Snyder, I read that article where he was all upset about the fact that Washington's doing so well, makes him like a loser, which he kind of is. But anyway.
The ex-owner.
Oh, yeah. So glad that Washington did well. Proud about their season. I think the thing that really struck me, and it was kind of funny, they had that massive first drive. And you text me and you're like, oh, I hope this isn't like the NCAA championship game. And it was, because then Philly one play touchdown. And then from there it was, release the hounds. I was very disappointed with the lack of composure. There were times in that game in the first half, it was still close, and guys are making boneheaded personal foul penalties and extending the Eagles' drive when they could have held them to a field goal. You could play the what if game all you want, but for those players that really lost their cool, if I was Dan Quinn, I would be looking at him extremely close. And if they don't show signs for growth in the offseason, I would get rid of them, because it just was not a good look to what was a magical season for Washington, and it was disappointing. But Jaden Daniels is the real deal. I think Washington has some very clear areas. They know they got to shore up the O-line in the offseason, shore up the defense, especially in the back end, and maybe even a little bit on the line. But they have their quarterback. They have a wide receiver, and the running game is good enough. It's exciting to be a Washington fan, but it was a disappointing end of the season.
Every.
All right, so now let's pivot to one of the more controversial games we've had in a while, Chiefs and Bills. I know the steam was coming out your ears from that game, so I'll give you the floor first.
First of all, I want to say I don't have anything against the Chiefs. So I really like Andy Reid and I really like Pat Mahomes. So I want to say that first. But the Bills won the game, like largely, not even close. They won by 7 to 10 points if you just have normal referees in that game. That was not even close. They were dominating the game. The fourth down that were clearly on, that's a game changer because they went on the opposite side, scored touchdown immediately where they were in a field goal there. So it's a minimum 10-point swing in the worst case scenario. The pass interference that was not called, that a blind person could have seen it on 40 yards, like that was another one with worst case scenario 3 points, but probably 7. At least one of the two will be 7. And I don't count that, and it's already 7 to 10 points. So worst case scenario, they won by 7 to 10. And there is so much more, like the taunting from Kelsey, that it's been flagged for the last 2 years, 100% of the time. He literally in the face of the guy and then laugh and then joke, like literally make fun of him in front of everybody. No flag. So they are the 1 yard line. There is a flag that would be at 16-yard line because it's a 15-yard penalty. I mean, all those little things that makes no sense during the game. It's sad for Josh Allen because Josh Allen deserves way better. But you need to beat not only Kansas City, but you need to beat the ref. And it's been the same story for a long time now. And it's very sad because if you want them to win, just give them the trophy. I mean, I will root for them now because against the Eagles, I will root against for anyone. But it's just sad that don't let the game dictate. It's the same with Houston the week before. Not that the Houston would have won, but still, that was 0-0 when there was that huge holding call that was not whistled at the 20-yard line. So they would have scored a touchdown there, 7-0. It changed the game. So I have an issue with that, but that's my take.
Yeah, I won't be redundant, but I will say that I thought going into the game, because of all the talk about the refs in Kansas City, I thought it would be a more balanced officiated game, and it was worse. So yeah, those calls were horrible. I think, I know you didn't see this, but I stayed on and I was watching Josh Allen. They're showing clips of him. Every player when they lose a game like that is dejected, but he had a different vibe from what I could tell from the TV of like, what else can I do? They held Kelsey to 2 catches and 19 yards. Josh Allen played out of his mind. Cook played out of his mind. I mean, they were the better team on that field. And I think that window has passed. I stayed on and was trying to come down from watching the games. And so I listened to Bill Simmons' podcast. And for people who know Bill Simmons, obviously he's a big Patriots homer, but he made some compelling arguments. Patriots have $130 million in cap space. They got their quarterback with Drake May. They have Vrabel as a coach. This might have been the last window. Bills didn't really do much to help Josh Allen in the offseason. Shakir ended up being a good player, but he was a rookie. They traded for Amari Cooper, but he didn't have a huge impact. Their defense is getting older. Von Miller's not getting any younger. Could this have passed the window? I hate to say it because, I was originally going to say Josh Allen is like Dan Marino, but Dan Marino made a Super Bowl and lost it. The Bills lost 4 Super Bowls in the 90s. They've lost 4 times now to the Chiefs and can't get to the Super Bowl. I feel for the Bills fans. They're a heck of a fan. The club seems like ownership's cool and all that stuff. And I like Josh Allen a lot, but I worry, was this it? Was this the last best chance for a while? Because you got some teams coming up in the AFC, and you have the Chiefs and the refs, to your point.
We'll see.
We shall see. So, all right, winners, we're going to pivot. And this segment, we're going to do grading NFL coaches. So,
the new coaches.
Yeah, the new coaches. Get your report card out with these hires. We have some interesting grades to share and some differences on the grades to share. Now, at the time of this recording, New Orleans has not hired their coach. One of the coaches they were interviewing in the cycle was the Bills offensive coordinator. So maybe that's what they were waiting for that game to finish. Mike McCarthy's also rumored there. So we're going to pass on the Saints for right now, but let's start with New York Jets hire Aaron Glenn. What grade do you give that one, my friend?
I give them an A minus. Reason being, I really like this hire. Again, I grade those things based on if I was a fan of the team, so for me, it's an A minus. Why? Because he seems to be an amazing, motivator, good structure, no BS kind of coach. So I doubt that Rodgers is going to come back because that's not going to work with Glenn, I think. So that's a good point. He can bring a lot, of course, defensively, he's super strong. And again, the Jets always go the defensive road. So I'm not surprised there, but I think it's a really good hire. The reason why I said A minus is because he never coached as a head coach before. So it's very hard to say how it's going to be because it's very different kind of role. It's a lot more about leadership. And you will have a defensive coordinator. Is he going to take all the loads because he cannot delegate? We don't know if he's going to be able to delegate, and it's needed when you're a head coach. So there are a lot of question marks that nobody knows. But for the rest, what we know, I think it's an amazing hire. Also, the fact that he's a protege of Parcells.
Yeah,
and
that's big.
And it's also something and then he was drafted by the Jets. So, I mean, he had a great career there. So it's definitely a lot of things that point to the direction of, okay, that's a great hire, but still some question marks.
I agree with the grade. I think he knows the Jets culture and he knows how they're snake bitten, which helps because he's got to deal with the New York media. I think he will do well. I'm curious who he picks as an offensive coordinator because he's been observing Ben Johnson at Detroit. So does he go cutting edge? Does he go more old school? We had the resurgence of the running backs this year. Does he get a more traditional offense like Bill Parcells had? Even Rex Ryan, even though I don't know if Glenn was there when Rex was coach, but it's going to be interesting. I do think Aaron Rodgers is gone. They can take that. They have a team option. Take the $50 million off the books. They could get a veteran quarterback, draft a young guy, and build around them. And I think it's going to be interesting. But I agree with the grade. If I was a Jets fan, I'd be very happy with the Aaron Glenn hire.
Here we go. We agree.
Next one, Patriots and Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, I will rate that an A. Reason being, I mean, it was match made in heaven. I mean, he comes from there. I loved him when he was in Tennessee. A lot of people were criticizing him at the end. I don't understand why. I mean, they never had really a team to make a huge difference in Tennessee, but he brought them back up. Yeah, like Tannehill, that's what he has, and he did what he did with Tannehill. Before him, nobody knew about Tannehill. It was a big flop in Miami, and after him, we never heard of him again. So that's literally the coach. So now he has May, which I believe is an excellent young prospect, and I believe the quarterback of the future. So he will be able to, even though he's a defensive-minded coach, he will be able to hire an offensive coordinator to help May. And then, like you mentioned earlier, they have such a high cap space that they will be able to build around and get some piece on that. And I love the mindset that's coming back to the Patriots. So yeah, A.
I'm going A plus. I think this was the most no-brainer match out of all of them. I think Vrabel, I agree, great coach, culture builder. You heard it here first. Patriots will make the playoffs. And I can't stand the Patriots. And the only thing I can't stand worse than the Patriots is the fans. Offense. I mean, you guys are a pain to listen to. And you had the whole dynasty, but 130 million in cap space, young quarterback with a bazooka arm, Vrabel, the Patriots defense is good. So it's not like he has to rebuild the defense. They need to spend money on skilled position players on the offense and solidify the line a bit more. I think they make the playoffs as a wild card next year and putting it here first. I think that was a fantastic hire, and it pains me that I'm going to have to watch the Patriots again in the playoffs, but so be it.
Hey,
I like Vrabel, and I think he's a heck of a coach. All right. Jacksonville Jaguars hire
Who?
Liam Cohen.
Who?
Oh, Liam Cohen.
God.
Go ahead.
This one. I will be nice. I will put a C. C. I will put a C on him.
CC sent you.
C. Because Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, seriously, like you had the Urban Meyer piece a few years back. Okay. I really like the Doc Person hire. Now you bring up the way you bring that dude up that nobody ever heard of. Like I never heard of him before. I knew he was an
I don't think
OC.
Tampa Bay fans even know who he is.
I know. So that's really weird. The way that he's getting an interview, he declined. He requests to be the highest paid OC. He gets the offer from Tampa Bay. The day after Jacksonville heard that, let's fire the GM and let's bring the guy back at a higher value. And then he accepted. I mean, you cannot make that things up with Jacksonville. That's everything that's against what the culture should be. The locker room, they see that, they hear that. Why you want to play there? I mean, if I was Lawrence, I want out. And I don't care what people think about Lawrence. He was a talent from college. Like he was literally like an amazing player.
Consensus number one.
Yeah, no, and I still believe in him, but he has no structure there. And now with this dude that nobody ever heard of, I mean, Jacksonville is a pain. And I was very nice by doing a C rate because I'm a nice guy. And so, but seriously, like awful hire.
I go F. I think for all the things you said, when the guy, I'm not going to interview because of the GM, which is his right. Then Tampa Bay makes him the highest paid OC, welcome him back, and then he spurns him the day later. You know, we talked about culture builders. We talked about Vrabel being a strong culture builder. You look at some of these other, Dan Campbell, we're both huge fans of how he changed the culture there. You know, there's principles of leadership, and just the way that guy handled it, I think it's going to be a disaster. And I will also take a little sidebar. You know who Trent Baalke, the GM they just fired, or this coach who he had was a GM before?
Not sure, no.
San Francisco, when Jim Harbaugh was there, and after San Francisco went to the Super Bowl, Jim Harbaugh rebuilt that team. They go to the Super Bowl, they lose. Excuse me. And he gets in an ego fight with Harbaugh, and Harbaugh leaves, goes to Michigan. Baalke obviously didn't last long because then they brought in, the current regime. But, that guy, he's got to be an absolute jackass in real life. I don't know who's I'm sure he's got connections, so he'll land a job somewhere. But if I was a free agent or a coach and Trent Baalke is in the front office, pass. Hard pass. Like there's a reason some of these guys, they're not winners. It's because their ego gets in the way and they lack the principles of leadership. So,
wow, strong word from Will.
And it's disappointing because I like Jacksonville's colors. But all right, Las Vegas Raiders hire Pete Carroll.
I like that a lot. I will give it a B, and the reason why I give it a B is because I think I understand why they made that hire. Like Tom Brady know what he's doing. That's something I will never question. And I think that he's smart by going mid to long term instead of trying to build something to please some fans the first year. Literally what he wants with Pete Carroll, because he's not there for the long run. It's literally build the culture, build the coaching staff, make sure that everybody are 100% into the people, the people leadership kind of mentality. He's a coach. He's a player coach. So let's bring that to Vegas, build a structure. And after 3 years, when he's done, you will be able to elevate one of the OC or DC, and you will have the structure in place to continue. But I think it's literally a hire to build that structure that will be able to go a long way with.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with the grade. I'll go with a B. I mean, I was being a little tongue in cheek, but I remember texting you. They gave him a 3-year contract where he lived through to see the end of the contract. But he is the youngest 73-year-old
Oh
I've
yeah.
ever seen in my life or heard about. Huge player, coach. I mean, I remember watching the documentary when he was at USC, going into some very rough areas to work with kids who weren't necessarily on USC's radar for recruiting, but it just give into the community. I couldn't. I liked him when he was at the Jets. I liked him when he was at the Patriots. I really liked him when he was at USC. I hated him at the Seattle, but it was because he was really good. I agree with that. I think this is a really solid hire for the Vegas, who needs some stability at that. And I agree with everything you said on that one. All right. We have 2 more to go. We shall go now. Chicago Bears hiring Ben Johnson. You're up first.
All right, I will give it a B minus.
Oh,
Yeah, B minus. Why? It's probably the number one pick for a lot of teams. You know, coming up, it's been a few years that he was on the radar for a lot of teams, but I'm struggling with this one based on the fact that he was known to be an excellent OC with Detroit, and Detroit OC is all about strong O-line, fantastic two combination running back, and play action call with Goff. The problem with Chicago is that you cannot do pretty much all of it. Definitely the O-line needs to be completely rebuilt. The running back is not where the way he was when he was in Detroit. So you need to rebuild also the running back. So, or will he be able to adapt to the team? And I don't know. I don't have any statistic who show me that he will be able to adapt to totally new team and be able to change his offensive mentality to bring what's best for the player he has. And that's number one. Number two, he never coached before as a head coach. Same as, I rate A minus, someone I believe is a perfect fit for that team. So that's why I rate a B minus now when I'm very doubtful based on what he's going to do with this team. And I'm still not sold by Williams. I don't say he's a bum. He's a bust, but he's definitely not on level for me of CJ Stroud, of Jaden Daniels, those young quarterback.
even if he paints a bear on his finger.
I mean, start with that, but no. So I don't think I don't know. I may be wrong, but I think that a lot of people are wondering also about those kind of facts, and we'll see. I wish him the best, but I have my doubt.
I am going to go an A minus, and the reason being, this guy has been sought after for a few years, turned down jobs, passed on jobs, didn't interview for jobs, and the Bears landed them. So he's been the hottest coaching prospect outside of, really, I mean, he's been the hottest coaching prospect the last 3 years. The Bears landed him. So I will give them kudos for that. I agree with you about all the concerns and of the Bears fit. The thing that I heard that gives me some pause, where before I didn't really have much, was there was a news outlet who were reporting that this year, and especially towards the end of the year, there became a rift between Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell. And I know both you and I are huge fans of Dan Campbell. And when you hear there's a rift like that, it causes an eyebrow. And what the report was saying, of course, who knows, it's speculation, but was that there was no way he was coming back. Ben Johnson, like Campbell made it clear, we're going to go a different direction. And so hence why, Johnson maybe finally did pick a job. That gives me pause about Johnson. So we'll see, but I'll give the benefit of the doubt. He was the hottest coaching prospect the last few years. The Bears got him. I think he's going to regret saying, "No, I've enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice when the Packers are 11-1 against the Bears in the last 12 games. Get ready, little brother. Big brother going to show you how it's done next year." But Bears always been the offseason, so let them have it. It's been 40 years. When you got Matthew McConaughey doing commercials about a coach who hasn't coached them in 40 years, and that's what they hang their head on still, Bears enjoy it. Bear fans, you've suffered a long time. So enjoy it. Have hope. Hope is a powerful drug. Lord knows the Bears fans need it because their team. All right. Anyway.
All right, that was a good result.
Oh, we have one last one. The how about them Cowboys? They decided to have Brian Schottenheimer. Tell me what you think about old Shotty and Depp.
Well, I will shock the world. I give an A++. No, I'm kidding. So, I do believe I was rooting for Primetime.
Oh,
That was the guy I wanted, and for all the wrong reasons, because that's exactly the kind of coach that I don't believe it for the Cowboys. The only fact that I have for him is because he bleeds Cowboys, and that's someone that I would love to have seen as a coach for us. Now, I'm not going to be as hard, actually, and I will give a B for Brian.
are you grading with the curve or?
I will give a B for what reason?
Okay.
He never coached before. So, if it's to take someone who never coached before, I prefer him than any other coach that never coached before because he's from the inside. Jerry will always be Jerry until he dies. He's gonna be the voice of this, and there's no need to really talk about it because we know it's that. So the fact that it's him now, we will see. From what I heard from 3 different coaches who had him as an OC in their teams, is that he's actually a very good people coach, and that he's able to do a lot with when he doesn't have really the players for. He always bring the best. The one that stick in my mind is Rex Ryan on Sunday mentioned that was between him and Brian for the Jets head coaching job. And Rex, of course, ended up getting the job, and he wanted to interview Brian for the OC job, and he accepted. And for me, it shows a lot about the personality to not be someone who just deflected. They just didn't want me as a head coach. I don't want to go there. He actually did it, and they went twice to the championship game with Sanchez. I know they had an outstanding defense, but they went twice with no quarterback. So it means you still need to score points. So it means that he was doing something with very little. And I know they had a good running back, but it's really what matters for me. It's to know that from his peers, they all believe that he deserves a chance. Maybe not for the Cowboys, but I will take it compared to any other one just for that reason. I like the hire from the Jets, as I mentioned, but I think his style would have been clashed directly with Jones. So I'd much rather have him and see what he can do compared to have another one. But it's just my 2 cents, and I'm hopeful for that.
I'm going D-. And the reason D-, it's not necessarily on Schottenheimer. I'm going about the hiring process. So Schottenheimer is the son of Marty Schottenheimer. Marty Schottenheimer was known for in Cleveland and San Diego. Great running game, average to above average passing game, but great running game, gritty defense. But Schottenheimer was also known for never winning the big game. In Cleveland, he lost to Elway and the Broncos a couple times, back-to-back years. San Diego, of course, had that 15-1, and they lost to the Patriots. Never could get to the Super Bowl. But that said, Schottenheimer was known as a strong culture builder. And I think, Brian, to your point, he will be able to bring consensus around, and he will be able to lead to a certain extent. But there's some things I'm really raising my eyebrows on. One, he wasn't calling plays in Dallas, which I don't quite fully raise an eyebrow on that one because McCarthy likes to call plays and kept it. But Brian Schottenheimer wasn't being talked about as, hey, this big offensive guru. And I think there's a legitimate question of is his offense a little dated? So does he refresh it, or was it a little dated because of McCarthy? So we'll see. But I think it's a fair question. The other thing is this is more an indictment on Jerry Jones. Like, the man, unquestionably smart businessman. The man has built Dallas into the most profitable or most valued sports franchise in North America. But come on, this team hasn't been to the NFC Championship Game since '95. Daniel Snyder, you saw what happened. No longer the owner of the Redskins, 2 years, the NFC Championship game. I think this is the curse of Jerry. I think that for what he did with Jimmy Johnson, this is the curse of Jerry Jones. And
we'll see.
Yeah.
Probably right, but we'll see.
All right, winners. So that'll wrap it up. Remember to follow, share, and subscribe to For the Win. Thanks to Nick Menard and Associates of Dream Vacations for sponsoring today's episode. And we will see you next week.
Bye, winners.